This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Yeah, surf the beat cause the bass is bubbling. Gotta get it in before it comes tumbling down. There's only so much time to find this kind of rhyme to express my mind.
Sweet
that has ever been made will eventually
Christmas
fade like the money
time,
you
turkey.
made.
Welcome to the CageCast. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey, Mozz, welcome to Season 2, Episode 12 of the CageCast.
Almost there.
Almost the penultimate episode, as they say. Can't front on me. Luke teams up with an unlikely ally to combat a new strain of heroin. As Shades plows ahead with his plan, a massive party draws everyone to the club. Our director this week is Everardo Gout. Of course, we get our normal writers list, including all the guys at Marvel who made it all start. Archie Goodwin and the gang, and then let's get down to Chio Hadari Coker, who gets our created by credit. Ada Mashaka Kroll gets our written by credit. Our executive story editor is Matt Owens, and the hardest working man in show business this week, our staff writer, Matthew Lopez. Oh,
I want to know who gets the writing credit for Mashaka's name.
Mashaka's? Oh, Mashaka Kroll. Yeah. Well, I guess his mommy, or maybe his daddy, or who knows?
Or her daddy.
I'm sorry.
Or her daddy. I thought that sounded like a lady's name.
Yeah, Ada. Yeah, that is a lady. So someone. Well, you know what? Maybe it is a name that Ada Mashaka Kroll took herself in later life, and wanted a name that would just make you think. You know, hey, a lot of writers do right under nom de plume. So.
Right. Well, that definitely is a name that makes you stop and go, hey, let's talk about this for a second.
Well, there you go. There you go. Oh, that's going to be a drop. Anyway, so this is our episode. We get our nice little parallel back to the start of the series.
Right.
With, of course, no longer is our drug of choice called Power Man. Was it called Power Man or was it called Luke Cage?
I think it was just called Luke Cage.
Called Luke Cage. Okay, Luke Cage brand. Because you know, drug addicts, they really want that branded merchandise, you know.
Right.
But Luke Cage. So we no longer have the Luke Cage brand heroin. We now have the Power Man or the Bushmaster brand.
Cocaine. It looked like.
Well, I think it was because it's like that blue crystal. I think it's supposed to be meth stuff.
Oh.
And all I can really say is it sure as heck weren't weed.
Right.
Because, of course, you know, our good friend from the barbershop says, oh, my friends don't do that kind of stuff. Well, no, clearly your friends do that kind of stuff. Clearly your friends do that kind of stuff because they were doing that kind of stuff in this scene.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I saw it myself with my own two eyes.
Yeah, exactly. So they are definitely doing the bath salty stuff, which, you know, again goes to this idea like, who sells drugs to make you crazy? I mean, like, you want repeat business in that industry, I think, you know. And
at the same time, there are people that they do buy it.
Well,
they try it and then they buy it again. People are inexplicable.
Well, you know, I think that people buy the stuff that makes them crazy when they want to be, when they're basically at that crazy level of drug addiction. But this is like, oh, I don't think anyone like just buys their first drug saying, oh, is that's that Bushmaster stuff that drives you insane. Let's get some of that. And more to the point, it's like, who sells that? It's like, I don't know. I really think that, you know, maybe people, I think maybe it was a plot device, really.
Or Mariah probably did it on purpose to have a bad drug out there attached to his name.
I mean, that's possible, but again, is that good for business? Would the Chinese go along with that? That's all I'm saying.
That's a great point, too.
But again, this actually gets to one of these things that I think is like this weird trope of fiction. It's not just comic books. This idea of the aversion to selling drugs. It's like this. Every mafia guy you ever see in a movie is like, no, we don't sell the drugs. The drugs are bad. We don't sell the drugs. And yet somehow someone is selling all these drugs.
Right.
It's like, call me crazy. I don't think Mariah will, I don't think this is the first time drugs have been introduced to Harlem. I'm just one of them on that one.
CIA did that in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out on that. I'm gonna say I think that Mariah maybe did not. This is not the first time drugs were introduced to Harlem. But anyway, but we have this thing where we have to track down who is selling this, and this time it goes really fast because of course Suge's on their team.
Right.
And you want to know something, you ask a driver. And he basically tells them, that that the Chinese have these things, and Luke goes to bust it up, and of course, who should he meet there but Bushmaster, who has come to bust it up as well, and I don't know, I kind of find like. I kind of feel like the team up is really forced here.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps. I was too busy just being excited. Maybe it's because I grew up watching wrestling, and this was like the classic story of like the best tag team ever forming out of like the two arguably best guys ever. It's kind of cool.
Well,
I appreciated it.
Yeah, I mean, I can feel that.
For a second there, I thought somebody was going to get put through a table. I was so hoping that they would do like a tag team move where one guy picks the guy up and the other guy like choke slams him or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That made me happy.
I mean, I can get that, and certainly it was a really fun fight to watch. I'm not gonna argue the funness of the fight. I'm gonna argue, and this is something that happens throughout this, which is this weird thing where it's like everyone seems to forgot the heads on pikes earlier this season. Everyone's kind of forgotten about the atrocities. And granted, yes, Mariah's atrocity definitely a worse atrocity. But let's not forget that unbidden. I love you too, Benny. Unbidden, freaking Bushmaster was committing atrocities left and right before this. I mean, and they're not just gangsters. That's the other thing you got to remember. It's not just gangsters. He really only killed one gangster. Everybody else, I think he killed, are all just dudes. The guy who ran Atrius Plastics murders him straight up cold blood. The guy who just handles money kills him straight up cold blood. And it's like, this is not a nice person.
Yeah.
And this urge to try and make him a nice person at the end, I think, kind of undercuts it. The idea that Mariah is evil is great, but it's not like we didn't already know Mariah was evil.
Right.
And not for nothing, her greatest evils are all things that happen when other people are pushing her and have her backed up against the wall. Prior to this, before Mariah does, I mean, not anything, but before she really goes nuts, this guy is tying her and her daughter up in a house to set them both on fire.
That's true.
And it's like I kind of feel this redemption arc for. I mean, and here's what I'll say. You see Tilda's take on it, knowing the character from the comics and knowing what her arc is, it kind of makes sense. But like everyone else, like Luke Cage should not be, like Luke Cage saying to him, you kill anyone, then this team up is off.
Yeah.
It's like, he already killed a lot of people. Luke. It's Like, it's like you're asking him not to kill any more for these next 5 minutes. And of course, and then of course, what does he do? He tries to kill everybody.
Right.
He's going to burn the place down, with his little incendiary bomb, And
he did actually axe a guy, though. Didn't he get a guy in the back with the axe? I mean, that guy's got to be dead.
Well, this is the comic books. You can take an axe to the back,
That's true.
And actually, if you miss the vital organs, there's, you can
actually. That's a fair point as well.
It's it got stuck in the rib cage. That's why you got a rib cage. That's the whole reason you have a rib cage, to protect against axe attacks.
Oh man.
Yes, but so that's that. We see that Mariah has sort of built up her new little cabal. She's going to be the godmother of Harlem, and she wants to unite all the feuding families to let them into the lucrative market of Harlem, because it's the first time they're allowing drugs into Harlem. It's a very big deal.
Or the first time they're allowing someone other than themselves to bring it in, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's certainly another argument. Yes, that.
And what I thought was interesting, I mean, like, it was a kind of on the nose. Like, if you wanted to make, the imperceptible, almost slight subtext of the thing being that she's selling black people's soul.
Oh yes.
Make the thing that she's selling called the soul of black people.
Yeah, the souls of black folk.
It would have been a cool thing if it was just like, oh, that represents that, and if but maybe I would have missed it, but still, just being that on the nose kind of took away from it a little bit.
Well, I think what's important in that too is that as she's selling the souls of black folks, to let the drugs into Harlem, she's also saying, but remember, it's mine and I want it back. That I get to hang on to it. Because basically, what it's really about is that she already owns the souls of black folks. And that's sort of or at least that's how she sees it.
Right,
she owns the souls of black folks, and she will rent them out to the outsiders, but it's still her souls of black folk. So that I think is the implication there. And I mean, I think it's a solid implication. I think it's all very understandable for the character that this is how she approaches it. Yeah. And we get in this what I think is also, which I think is a follow-up from last week's episode, which is that Shades has decided to turn stool pigeon.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a really ugly word to describe a really difficult thing that he chose to do,
Yeah. Oh, I'm not denying it, but, he's the first one to say, he's a snitch,
I know. But that's just because he's feeling down on himself. I think what he's doing is it's like there were 3 people that really, really loved Harlem. They weren't just 2. Shades was one of them. And he had a vision for Harlem as well. And he's been sort of like shepherding or trying to shepherd that vision into fruition for a long time through many different people. Mm-hmm. So, I think he deserves that.
Well, but I guess what
he does is in defense of Harlem every time,
Mm-hmm. And I think there is a fair cop to that, but I also think that, I think that there's a quality to it where, and here's what I'll say. He's turning on Mariah, but I don't know if he's really turning on Mariah. And I'll get to, because here's the thing. So first off, he gets his proffer. Right. And he doesn't just give them evidence on Mariah. He doesn't just say the last 3 weeks. He decides to go all the way back to season 1 and basically admit to every dirty crime he's ever done. And the logic of this, of course, is that he can't be held accountable if they convict Mariah.
Right.
But then he does something really interesting when we get to the actual final battle. He takes the gun that he's there to get from Mariah. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, no one ever sees Mariah have the gun. No
But
one. Yeah.
but the fact that it was in her house and he could corroborate that it was her gun is enough, I thought.
And well, except that Mariah can just as easily say, no, Hernan brought that gun. That's Hernan's gun. Cornell gave him that gun. I do know that gun. That's the gun Cornell used to shoot Pete.
So what you're saying is that he was sneakily trying to not allow the gun to be connected to her?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just instinct that he says, give me the gun when Bushmaster's trying to bust in.
In that moment, I think he wants. Here's how I saw it. I thought, like, you know, he doesn't want to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to be doing this, but also everybody else, and you know, at least the smallest shred of decency comes first, and he has to protect people and he has to protect Harlem. So he doesn't want to be doing this, but when push comes to shove, he doesn't want her to die either. And if the decision has to be made in that moment with nothing else, allowed to weigh in on that decision, he's going to protect her because he does care for her.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, that's a fair interpretation.
That's how I saw it.
I guess I don't even know if it was intentional. I just know that from a legalistic point of view, the fact that they don't find the gun, that Hernan,
they do find the gun.
I'm sorry.
They do find the gun.
No, Hernan hands Misty the gun at the end.
Right. Oh.
So it was always on Hernan's person, and that's the thing. If she can say that's Hernan's gun, who establishes that it's not Hernan's gun? The only person who can establish that it's not Hernan's gun is Hernan.
But it could be like a known family heirloom. You know, it's been like Cornell killed Pete with that gun.
Yes, and you know, Shades was friends with Cornell.
Yeah, but I don't think back then. I think this was like done when like Cornell must have been like 17 or something, or maybe they were from.
No. Well, yeah, no, Cornell, because they did a flashback in season 1 where they show Cornell shooting Pete, and you know, and Mariah is standing next to him, you know, but you know, Mozz is making him kill Pete, and this was sort of this is when Cornell becomes the mobster, because he didn't want to be. He wanted to be a musician. Right. He was the one really trying to fight it. But then, you know, Mama Stokes says, no, you're the man of the house. You have to be the gangster.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has always been the tension between Mariah and Cornell. And, of course, that is, if nothing else, what I think is the central idea here, that, you know, they, both of them, never really wanted to be gangsters.
Right.
But both of them were pulled into it so deeply and forced into it by these choices other people made for them that they never really had the chance to be something else. You know, and that, I think, is maybe what we're supposed to feel for Tilda, is that she was the one person given a chance to make her own choice.
Right.
But we'll see what choice Tilda makes. Bum. We do know one choice she makes, which is to help Bushmaster break in to kill her mom.
Like, would those two just get it on already?
You know what? But, well, I mean, it's an intense scene. But here's the thing, because, like, what Tilda is doing is just straight up out cold. I mean, it is just, without a doubt, the most dark thing she can do. She is sending this man to kill her mom, and not for nothing, she is sending Bushmaster to die. No, she's sending Bushmaster, and here's how you know. Because she hands him the supercharged nightshade serum. right?
Right.
And she says to him, this can double your strength, but it will destroy your body and your mind. Then she says, don't take it all at once. And what does he do?
Of course.
Yeah,
He's working.
Yeah, he takes it all at once because he is an addict. And she knows he is an addict. And she knows darn well he is going to take it all at once. And she is giving him this thing so that the two of them can essentially, so that he will kill her mother and then he will die.
Right.
You know, that is the truth of it.
Yeah, she's definitely a Stokes.
Yeah, double Stokes twice over, as she said. She's double Stokes. And what I can say is, and for Bushmaster to trust her just shows you how far he's gone, you know.
Right.
You know, it's like he's just like I gotta fulfill my task, and I'm even gonna trust someone who earlier I was trying to kill and whom is a Stokes, and I say every Stokes must burn, you know.
Right.
You know, it's like he's just totally like, yeah, fine, whatever. But that does get us to our second big battle royale with, Berserker Bushmaster. And
pretty fun too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good one. Although I gotta say, and this is just a thing for me, I know he is like quote unquote bulletproof.
Right.
But would it kill him to wear a bulletproof vest too?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I know you're sort of bulletproof, but first off, you're not all the way bulletproof.
Yeah, and it takes you like weeks to recover.
Exactly. It's like it would really be a smart idea to just wear a flak jacket, you know? Wear something other than just a shirt. And although I will say I love when he dodges the bullet.
Yes, that was so awesome.
That was an awesome scene.
Because I thought they were going to do like the bullet shattering off his eye or something, and I was like, come on. And then he moved. I was like, oh, his senses got sharper too.
Yeah, well, of course, that's he's like all super soldiered up right now.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna do a Superman Returns there. Because no one liked that scene. Because everybody in the theater is like, right in the eye.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're invulnerable. That's still something in your eye. It's like, I got a bullet in my eye.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, but of course, for in her defense, she does. We assume. I don't think we ever actually see it. We assume that she drives Bushmaster to safety.
Right.
Although again, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she left and Bushmaster just hopped up on his rage juice, just ran home. We don't know.
I mean, like, he must have known that the safest place to go, or the likeliest place he can get more nightshade or any sort of help for his condition, would be Tilda's shop. You know.
Yeah. Well, but after he leaves the club, he disappears, and he leaves Tilda with the keys, but we never actually see him pick her up. So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying you end this episode and you, of course, assume that she helped him get away, but really, should you assume that? She did just give him the whole vial of nightshade and say, oh, by the way, don't take it all at once. Don't blow your whole load. So, yeah. But Mariah does get arrested, and, like I say, she's walking out proud at the end of that. I think she's justified to. I don't think their case is as strong as they think. They got shades to flip, but again, it's a guy who is not a reliable witness,
Yeah.
And of course and here's the thing, the fact that he admitted to everything doesn't help his case, because one can say, well, he admitted to all those crimes because he got his immunity for it. because everything he said, he got immunity for, so that no one could ever come back and say, but remember you actually killed Candace and you did this and you shut up Pop's barbershop. You know, that's why he does all this stuff. But you know, I don't think that makes him any more reliable, because someone can just as easily said, well, he said all that stuff because he knew he would be protected. So of course he made it to all of his crimes. But now we have to believe that this guy, who is an admitted criminal, is actually telling the truth about poor Mariah Stokes Dillard, you know.
No, but I mean, I'm sure their plan is a bit deeper than that. They've got, you know, stuff that hinged. Well, I guess if it does only hinge on his testimony, what is that worth, really? I guess you're right.
Exactly. I mean, that's my point. It is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of circumstantial evidence, you know. I mean, the biggest thing they actually have her on is the stock manipulation, and you know, and you know, not for nothing. What's her name? The Martha Stewart did a nickel for that, and you know, she came out just fine. You know, that's the thing. It's like that kind of crime. Yeah, she'll do it. She'll do a nickel for it, and she'll call it a day. You know.
Yeah, I think her popularity soared much higher after that.
Well, yeah, because she knew Snoop. She got friends with Snoop Dogg after that. You know, she got to be all. She was no longer, you know, the epitome of white privilege. She was just another gal from Rikers, you know. So
yeah, street cred.
She got her street cred, man.
Yeah.
She shanked a person. So there you go. I don't know if Martha Stewart ever shanked someone, but I'll guarantee you that was a lovely handmade shank that she did it with, if she did. Anyway, but yeah, so Mariah's got arrested, and that is how we end this episode. Do you have any final thoughts on it?
Luke almost kills Bushmaster, but Misty has to stop him, which I thought was a bit of a stretch.
Well, you know, I don't know if he almost killed Bush. I mean, that's the thing. It's like he's definitely choking the guy out.
Yeah.
I don't see him go anywhere past choking the guy out.
Yeah, and even if like he was unconscious, he was safe and he was perfectly fine. They should have let him at least knock him out, you know. But I guess I don't know.
Yeah, well, they had to let him. They had to help him. They had to have him escape, of course, obviously.
Oh, fair enough. You're right.
You know, so and you know, and that's the thing. Like, he wasn't going to kill him, choking him out. I don't. I mean, you can kill a man choking him out, obviously, but it's actually very difficult. And you know, if he had stopped after he passed out, then it would have been fine. But then again, he's hopped up on the nightshade, so maybe he's not going to pass out real quick. You know, he's not struggling. He'll never get that moment. And then he lets him go, and then all of a sudden he's like right back up. You know.
Yeah.
He's on the nightshade.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So that was the penultimate episode of Luke Cage.
Really
I did enjoy this episode, although I have to say I love the final episode.
Oh my God, I thought it was one of the best episodes they've ever done. There were several moments in that next episode where I was like, wow, just that one or two lines is maybe the best bit of writing I've seen on the show ever. And there was like 2 or 3 moments like that.
Oh yeah, and it's just a great episode, and we will talk about all of that next week. So join us here, dear listeners. Once again, step into the cage for the CageCast. Mozz, how can people find you if they need to?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Mozz and Poz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham and Cloak and Dagger and all these shows coming back at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
Ding.
All right, sweet sister. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here in the CageCast. Next week, for one final time, please step into the cage with us once again. Good night.